Hello again, good people. It's a beautiful day, so I thought I'd just take a walk in the park. The winds are kind of high, so I don't know if it's going to screw up my audio. I'll try to lean in close. Audio is always a problem. Don't have the best voice for this. Have you heard the story about the most intelligent gorilla in the world? It's, it's established that gorillas can learn sign language and all that, but, this gorilla was actually a author of children's books. That's how good this gorilla spoke, in sign language, and could even type. Brilliant gorilla, and people would come from miles away to the zoo to see this gorilla. And just look at this gorilla and you could tell there's something going on behind those eyes. It's just such an intelligent and enlightened animal. And this gorilla had another interesting trait, almost an eccentricity, a playful side, really. It would single someone out every once in a while. You never knew when this gorilla was going to do it. A big old silverback. But it would just, somebody would interest the gorilla, and nobody knew why, and subtly the gorilla would be aping everything that person does. And people got hip to that, and a lot of people try to stump the gorilla, but it was like looking in the mirror. The gorilla would mimic you so perfectly in gestures that, people would try moonwalking and somersaults, and that gorilla was just in perfect time. Of course, being a gorilla, it decided when it was bored and it would just stop, just ignore everybody, turn his back to everybody and start writing a new chapter in the latest children's book series. Well, this guy went to the zoo because he'd lost his job and his girlfriend had left him, and he was thinking some really desperate thoughts, and he just needed a reason to embrace life a little more. And he thought, hey, why don't I go to the zoo and see this famous gorilla, the smartest gorilla in the world? And wouldn't you know it, the guy's there, and the gorilla singled him out, and he kind of swiped at a fly, and the gorilla did the same thing. And he looked at the gorilla, and the gorilla looked at him, and everybody knew it was on. And this guy actually forgot his misery. He would jump to the side. The gorilla was right with him. He'd lunge forward and then go backwards, and the gorilla did everything he did. And everyone's laughing about it, and this gust of wind blew a piece of speck of pollen into the guy's eye, and he started rubbing at it furiously because he's got allergies. And the gorilla went ape. It just freaked out. It scaled the enclosure, and it just jumped on top of this guy right in the middle of his chest. No one had ever seen a mean bone in this gorilla's body. And it's a big silverback. We're talking 500 pounds of animal fury. And this gorilla just did an American Tourister commercial with this guy. Just beat him mercilessly. And the gorilla climbed back down to his enclosure, turned his back on the whole audience, and ignored everybody. Well, this guy was scooped up and put in an ambulance and later into a body cast, and spent all this time in physical therapy, and his lawyers were trying to help him sue, and he realized, he was told that the zoo wanted to countersue him for antagonizing the gorilla. They said that this is a very intelligent and sensitive animal, and it understands language. And when he did this, he was saying, "Up your ass," in gorilla. And he hurt the gorilla's feelings, and then he enraged him. And he should have known better. This guy found out he didn't have a suit at all, and he had all these hospital bills, and he's in worse shape now, and he just gets out of physical therapy, and he can walk okay. He wants to get that gorilla back so bad. And he planned the whole time, months in the hospital, you know, eating through a straw. And he stopped off at a delicatessen and he bought himself a sausage. And he got himself a couple of nice steel razor sharp Ginsu knives and he got himself a London Fog raincoat, and he slipped into the zoo. And he hung around until the gorilla finally noticed him. And on a whim, the gorilla started imitating him. And he tried to keep it interesting. He didn't want the gorilla to lose interest too soon. He threw one of the knives into the cage before anyone could, into the enclosure before anyone could react. And he produced his knife, so the gorilla picked up the knife just in time and did the same pose. He unzipped his fly. The gorilla pretended he had a fly. He pulled out the sausage and he whacked it off with a knife. And the gorilla went, I just thought you needed to hear that. Peace. And behave yourselves. Not really.